You've probably never worried about a solar storm, but NASA now says one that erupted from the surface of the sun in 2012 and the energy it released came dangerously close to hitting Earth. That would be a very bad thing. Scientists say the world's power grid would suffer the brunt of the impact, plunging the world into darkness and causing an estimated $2 trillion in damage, 20 times the cost of Hurricane Katrina. And we can't breathe easily. Scientists say there's a 12% chance a solar storm of this sort could hit the Earth in the next 10 years. To help us understand all of this, we're joined from Philadelphia by Derek Pitts, chief astronomer at the Franklin Institute Science Museum and an Al Jazeera America contributor. Derek, it's always good to see you. Let's begin with these storms and what they are, and why is the one that happened back in 2012 so significant to scientists?
Well, what we're seeing is these eruptions that come up off the surface of the sun that blast an enormous blast of electromagnetic particles out into the solar system. And if it happens that the Earth is in direct line with the explosion, if it's something that's really enormous, it can cause serious problems for us. The reason why the one in 2012 was such an important one for NASA to monitor is because of the size. We're right now in the middle, just off the peak of the most recent sunspot cycle. The cycles last about 11 years. We're right just off the peak of that on the way back down. And at that time, in 2012, we were on the way up toward the top. So scientists were very much interested in monitoring the sun's activity so that if something was coming, we'd have at least a day and a half to reset or reposition satellites so they wouldn't be damaged, and also to warn power grids and power stations and power generation systems to shut down their systems if they could, to avoid large-scale damage.
So what would it actually, what could it do to the Earth?
Well, it's a very interesting phenomenon that happens. What happens is that the electromagnetic particles coming into the Earth's atmosphere actually impinge on the long transmission wires. You know, the high tension wires that transmit power across the country actually would act as antennas for the electromagnetic particles, and that would generate additional electrical charge going down the wires. It goes down to the substations, and it blows up the transformers, and that's what causes the power failures. So you don't want that kind of a situation to develop. So that's the major thing. On top of that, the other problem is that these big eruptions off the sun can also do tremendous damage to satellite communications and any sort of wireless communications, and particularly satellite communications that aren't protected against this kind of solar activity really are very sensitive, and we don't want those worldwide communication systems to be damaged in any way.
And scientists, as I said, are predicting that there's a 12% chance we could see something like this hit the Earth in the next 10 years ago. And the reality is it has happened before, but not since we became so dependent on electricity.
Yeah, that's very true. The sun and the Earth have been in this cozy relationship for 4.5 billion years. And we're certain that the sun has done all sorts of incredible things before, and there's no question that there will be big eruptions in the future. But the way our civilization is set up now, we're now dependent on these technologies that don't really work so well with the big eruptions on the sun. So we have to learn how to build communications equipment or electronics that can withstand that kind of solar blast so that it doesn't disrupt our civilization and society as we know it.
Yeah, and in 1859, one of them knocked out telegraph service. So it's certainly something we need to watch out for. But I want to address one other topic before we go. From space, another country has decided to